I love pickles so much that when I was adopted from Russia, I remember coming home from school and I would eat a whole jar of pickles in one day and I would drink all the juice. My parents were a little concerned, but someone told them, they're like, it's okay. She might be, needing some minerals or whatever, just catching up on that. So they allowed me to do that. So I just love pickles. Anything pickled, pickles, I love it so much. So here I am making my own. These are all from my garden. Here I have a little twin. I feel like I always find that in my garden. There's always like twins of something. Twins of a flower. I had twins of carrots this year. I had twins in garlic and now in these cucumbers. So it's kind of funny to notice that. First, I like to start with getting my canner set up with water, and I fill it up just a little bit above the stand. So I like to get the water going, and while the water is warming up, because I notice it usually takes a long time. So this is a steam bath. This is not like water canning, which it can be, but you have to put more water in the canner. This is steam canning, so that means you only have to put in enough water to fill up just above the metal stand, and then the steam is what's going to can, close the jars for pickling. So so while that's going, I like to wash all my cucumbers and just kind of sort through them all. And here I'm showing, I have a few different varieties that I planted this year, but they're all kind of like pickling variety. Look at all those. I am rich in cucumbers. I'm so happy my garden did so well. I planted so many plants this year, and I did them actually in different stages. I have some cucumber plants I planted early in the summer, like end of May, I think, and then some I planted like later in June because I wanted to have a succession of cucumbers. So this whole season I was able to do like 3 different cannings of cucumbers. So I will have pickles for the whole year. I think I have 13 jars total, those quart jars. So I'm gonna have pickle for days. So I can technically have like a jar of pickles a month, and maybe one extra. So canning, I've been doing this for years, but I don't know. It just intimidates me a little bit just because it seems like so much work. I'm like, oh, I got to do canning. It's not enough just to grow the cucumbers and then I got to pickle them and then I got to can them. But I don't know. I just make myself do it, and then I take, a task at a time. And then I don't know, before when I finish the task, I'm like, why was I stalling? Why was I procrastinating? And it actually wasn't that bad. So I kind of break it into sections. So I did the cucumbers, I washed them all, got them all ready, but the water in the steamer has been going. And then now I'm getting the brine ready. I'll list the recipe, I'll link it down below so you guys will be able to see the recipe that I use for the brine. Okay, here comes the part where I put, all the all the ingredients in the jars. My dill was a little on the slim side. I used the greenery part, but then also the flowering part of dill. So like when dill goes into flower, you know, and I try to do it while it's in the flowering stage before it gets to the seeds. So that's what I did. I did a little bit of each. And then I used to put a whole clove of garlic, but for me, I noticed that it's like a little bit too much. So I actually cut up the garlic in half, and then I put half in each jar. And then just a few peppercorns. I used to put a lot more, but I don't enjoy like, you know, spicy kind of, you know how like garlic is spicy and then the peppercorns. So I didn't enjoy those kind of pickles for me. So I just kind of learned from the past and I put a little bit. But the secret ingredient is right here. These are bay leaves from my bay leaf bush tree that I have. And the key ingredient to yummy pickles, in my opinion, is the bay leaf. So I make sure that I put a bay leaf in each jar, sometimes two. Honestly, it's just so good. Oh yeah, I put 2 bay leaves this time around. Since I have lots, I just did that. So here comes my favorite part. If any of you guys ever played the game Tetris, I played it on a Game Boy. My brother used to have a Game Boy. And, oh, that game was actually invented by Russians, just so you guys know. Did you know that? Yeah. And that's my favorite game. And I actually was pretty good at it. I had a highest record. I used to play so much of that. But anyways, the part of that comes in handy is right here. When I'm stuffing those cucumbers in there, oh, that game of Tetris came in hand so well. So when you put cucumbers in the jar, you want to make sure, like I hold the jar, I tilt it sideways, so that way the cucumbers kind of lay down. Does that make sense? And then you can like stuff them really, really well in there. I mean, if you're going through all this work of making cucumbers, you know, pickling them, you want to make sure you stuff as many in there as possible, because, you know, the size of the cucumbers, if you just put them there normally, you can put like five cucumbers or 6 cucumbers, that's it. But I'm able to in some cases like put 9 or 10 cucumbers in there. So see right there, when you tilt them sideways, and then you can kind of like squish them and like really push it in. Don't worry about that. Yeah, like push them in there. And sometimes I even have to cut like a cucumber in half, short ways, long ways, I don't know, so it fits there better. So you got to do whatever you got to do, Tetris those cucumbers down, so then that we can fit as many as possible. Yeah, and I like to put like all the stuff first, like the garlic and dill and all that stuff, and then the cucumbers on top, so then that kind of pushes all that stuff in there, so it all stays. Okay, next we have the learning part. This is where I'm letting you guys learn my lesson, the lesson that I learned. And I hope you guys don't do it, because I am very sad and I regretted it. But I made a big mistake canning, and that is I did not let my brine right here. I didn't let my brine cool down before I poured it into the jars, and that was a big no-no. And I've discovered it later. You know, canning is one of those things. It's like you do it once a year, and I don't know, I just never feel like I'm a pro at it, because, you know, you do it for, you know, a few days out of the year, and then you're like, yes, this is great, and then the next year comes and it's like, I feel like I don't remember things. Like I forget them, you know. So I didn't let my brine cool, and 2 reasons why you should. So I like crispy pickles, cucumber. I keep calling them pickles, but you know, cucumbers that become pickles. So I like crispy pickles. And so if you don't let your brine cool down and you pour hot brine first, it's gonna, like right now, it's like cooking your cucumbers. It's like, it's gonna make them shrivel up a little bit and they're not gonna be as crispy. And then the second reason you want to let your brine cool down, like right now mine's like steaming. I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously I was not thinking. So you want to let your brine cool down because you'll see it later, but like 2 of my jars cracked because it was just such a big shock. So I don't warm up my jars beforehand because for the same reason, if I have hot jars and then I'm putting cucumbers in it, first of all, it's like hard to handle because the jars are hard and then you have to like, you know, Tetris the cucumbers in there. So I don't do that for that reason. They're just, you know, normal temperature. But I should have let the brine cool down because then if the brine is cooled down and you put them in like regular jars, it's fine because then when you put it in your canner, before the canner starts steaming, then everything warms up at once and it's fine. And I've done that for years and never had a problem. But this, you know, this time around, I forgot to cool down my brine. I was in such a hurry, I guess. So I paid the price for it. So you'll get to see that coming up. Did you hear that? That was the sound. That was the depressing sound. I just had a jar crack. Jar crack. I'm repickling these. They're all good. Just the bottom cracked. Okay, I don't recommend doing what I did, which was repickling them. But I'm living to tell. What's the saying? I live another day to tell the story. I don't know. I'm here to tell you that I am alive. I did eat those pickles, and I'm alive. Nothing happened. But what I did is I rinsed the cucumbers, pickles under the water, and then I put them in a new jar, new canning jar, and put extra brine that I had. Oh yeah, right here I show that. Yeah, so I washed it. So it kind of broke really clean, like just the bottom came off, and then everything, like it wasn't like shattered glass everywhere. If it was, like I probably wouldn't do it, but I just washed the cucumbers and then stuffed them back in. So after they're all clean, I made sure I stuffed them in there, and I really stuffed them in there because, hey, I knew those cucumbers came out of there, so I knew they all have to go in. So I have my leftover brine that I haven't learned my lesson yet. It's still hot. I didn't learn the lesson of cooling it down until after I finished making this video. But it's still hot, so I'm putting it in. I think they survived, but I had another jar break afterwards. Ay, ay, ay. So learn from me, you guys. Let your brine cool down. So I scoot everybody over and I was able to put that jar back in, and there was plenty of time because it hasn't gotten to the green. See, you have to wait for the red arrow to get in the green zone, middle of the green zone, like right there. Once the arrow is in the green zone, that's when your canner is ready for the time that it says to can something. So in this case, it said once, you know, it reached the correct temperature, then you put 15-minute timer. So you got to can them for 15 minutes. But you don't start that timer until your canner's in the right zone, you know, like the red arrows in the green zone. So then when that timer is off, 15 minutes is done, you turn the heat off, take the lid off, and then leave the cans in there, but then put the timer for 5 minutes. So it's like allowing the cans to sit there in the steam, kind of relax, let the steam come out of the canner. And so it's not quite much of a shock for, you know, getting the jars out of the canner and just putting them back, you know, on the counter. So you want them to sit in the canner for like 5 minutes, just relax with the lid off, the heat off, just there on the stove. Don't scoot them over. And then after the 5 minutes, they are ready to be taken out. This is my favorite part of whole canning, is getting the jars out and just feeling a sense of accomplishment and just like, oh, all this work that I did, it's all done. And then here's like your instant reward. You get to physically see it, all your hard work. But anyways, I'm glad to be done with this. I did a few more batches after that and everything turned out good. So I learned my lessons, and I hope this was helpful to you guys and that you kind of learn from my mistakes, and then so you don't have to make them yourself. So enjoy those pickles.